Elke, Ahmed, lovely to meet you. Tell me, where are you? Where are you both based?
So I think I will start. Ladies first.
Indeed, I think.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm Elke. I'm based in Hurghada. And yeah, I've been working here in Hurghada, from Hurghada, since 2004. I'm basically combining my biggest interest, which is biology and diving. So I'm a biologist with a PhD, and I'm a dive master that's working on liveaboards. So that's
Excellent.
Nutshell.
Yeah. And Ahmed, I take it you're in Hurghada as well?
Yes, I'm in Hurghada, and well, I've been working in diving since '93. In different areas, but mainly, of course, guiding on liveaboards. In the last couple of years, also in the management side of liveaboards. Other than just normal guiding and being on boats, I also teach technical diving and I guide tech weeks.
Okay, excellent. I mean, we're here mainly to talk about Scuba Scene. Could you both or one of us just give us some details? Tell us what Scuba Scene is.
Well, who wants to take this? Ahmed, do you?
Yeah, I'll do that. Well, Scuba Scene, I mean, generally she's a boat, and she's a very high standard boat, but she's also an idea, not just a boat. About 2 years ago, just before the COVID-19 started, me and Elke talked together, and because of all of our experience in the liveaboards and in the diving industry, we had a number of small things that are different from what's being presented and produced by other operators. It's things that we feel that we want to do and we want to give up to our guests. So what we did is that we made an agreement that we will start our own business, and we started something. But of course, it was a time of COVID-19 and everything kind of collapsed at the time. But also we found that one of the things that came in our way, and it wasn't very easy to come across, is that to actually implement and do all what we wanted to do, we needed a hardware to be able to do that on. And not just a normal hardware. We needed a very high standard boat that can actually accommodate all the ideas that we have and we wanted to implement on the boat that we will work on. And that comes in a number of different aspects: safety aspect, accommodation, space on the boat itself, ability to accommodate a number of different diving activities. So photography, technical diving, also with enough space to give presentations where people can sit comfortable and listen. Because what we have is, I wouldn't say it's purely educational. It's actually far from it, but there is a part which we deliver a lot of information, and there is a part, of course, where there is a lot of fun related to the actual activity itself. So we came across a businessman who just started his business in the diving industry by purchasing basically the best boat in the Red Sea. We had a contact with him, and he kind of knew us from before, and he approached us asking us to take over the boat, management and marketing, and also doing the actual operation itself. And it was just perfect. It was basically everything that we wanted came true by this boat, because she is a very high standard boat. She's got the space, she's got the engine power, she's got the stability, and she's got the actual functionality to help us to do all what we wanted to do from the beginning. And
sorry. I've been looking at some pictures of the boat, and she does look amazing.
If I can carry on talking, I will not stop. Anyway, so
yeah, maybe I should cut in there and actually just give a few facts, because Ahmed then goes off, and But so let's talk to some of the facts. She's steel hulled. She's 43 meters long. She's 9 meters wide. That makes her very stable. It makes her very spacious. The layout is, to a certain degree, very classic for Egyptian liveaboards. We have 4 decks, so we have the cabins. First of all, down in the hull, we have a couple of suites on the main deck, and then we have another cabin further up on the top. A large restaurant area. We have a very comfortable salon fitted with 2 TVs, which again is what Ahmed mentioned, gives us the chance for presentations, and they're very comfortable for people to listen to. And again, what he mentioned, again, some more facts about what he mentioned, what was important to us, safety-wise. Emergency exits. And a lot of boats still, especially the older boats, it's small hatches that actually in a case of emergency might be quite difficult to access or to get through. So we have proper big door that you can simply step through. Another hatch on the upper deck is, again, it's a large one with a proper stepping tool in front of it. So again, it's easy to maneuver even in an emergency. So safety-wise, that's important. We added 2 large speedboats. We didn't add the speedboats, but we updated them. So there's ladders on the speedboats. There's tank racks that keep the equipment safe and the people comfortable when we're traveling to the dive sites from the big boat. So there's a few things that also with these really cooperative owners, we were able to actually improve on a boat that already had all the fittings to be successful. She's not very well known on the market because she was very busy with kite surfing, but now we're trying to get her or put her to the task that she was built for, which is actually scuba diving. So this is the idea. So in terms of, the management, the marketing, so we're trying to get her to the market. And again, especially with the fact that she's steel-hulled, super stable and comfortable, I think that's going to be a very, very good addition also to the UK market.
Yeah, and, as I said before, just looking at the photos, she does look amazing. The Red Sea, it's a huge area. So what sort of areas are you going to be covering?
Well, that depends very much on the season. I mean, as Ahmed said, we've both been working on Red Sea liveaboards for a long time, for years. So obviously you have a bit of an idea what's the best places to go and at which time in terms of weather and in terms of sightings. So generally we'll be covering pretty much everything from the north. So that means Strait of Tiran is usually our northernmost point, all the way down to St. John's. And of course, St. John's, level with St. John's, we have Rocky Zavargad. So there are certain seasons where the boat will be operating from Galeb to cover the south. Daedalus, Rocky Zavargad, and St. John's, Fury Shoals, all these areas. For most of the year, she'll be operating from Ogada. And then, of course, we'll do trips the north, Northern Brothers, Northern Tiran, which then excludes the classics, the Rex, Ras Mohammed, all these places. So we're going to try to cover everything from the north all the way down to St. John's in the best season for these places.
Beautiful. COVID really messed up my plans for the Red Sea. I mean, I love the Red Sea. It's fantastic. I love the marine life, the people, everything. It's just a perfect place to go. And I'm very envious that you're working and doing everything you're doing there. When you're diving, are you both diving with clients continuously, or do you have other guides with you? How does that work out?
Well, we do have other guides with us. So we have people actually that we trained ourselves along the years. There is always one of us on the boat to actually, to act as a dive guide, one thing, but also to make sure that all what we wanted to provide in hosting the people on the boat, from the point of service and the quality of the information and everything is being provided just the way we want it to be done. So we do both. We actually have other guides who are trained by us, and we actually also guide people as actual in the water diving. We do that, especially with in the weeks with the shark weeks. Elke dives quite a lot. Anyway, she loves that. That's her passion. And in the weeks with technical diving, I tend to do quite a lot of tech diving with the people coming to do this kind of activity. But away from this and that, we make sure that all the information related to the dive sites are being provided by one of us all the time.
Yeah, that's good. I have found I've done a few boat trips, and one of the things that was always lacking was any information or instruction from dive guides about conservation, safe diving, not physically safe diving for yourself, but safe for the environment. Yeah. And that always frustrated me. But it sounds like you've got that covered quite well.
Well, you haven't been with us, definitely.
Yeah, no, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, conservation is a big thing. I mean, of course, we all have to live with the fact that being there on a boat, I mean, it is not a positive thing, but of course we're going to try to minimize whatever effects we will have, and that regards everything. That's regards the behavior of the crew, the boat itself, and of course also our guests. So information wise, I mean, the basic stuff of what to do underwater to keep the environment safe. Of course, diver safety, as you say, is a totally different thing. The physical safety of the divers, that's always going to be included. That's part of the first boat briefing, and that's part of every dive briefing to make sure that nothing is happening. And of course, if anything special needs to be addressed, that's going to be done as well. And in terms of extra information about this, conservation in general, reef ecology wise or reef conservation wise, and also shark conservation wise, there's also going to be information or presentations. In the Shark Weeks, that's included anyway. It's one of the main reasons I'm doing presentations on the boat, because with the global situation of sharks, it is important that more and more people are aware of this. And I consider divers the perfect ambassadors for that kind of subject, because this is the people that are actually willing or interested in meeting these animals underwater, and they don't have this sort of irrational phobia of them. And of course, it's very difficult to motivate people to protect something if they're afraid of it. So that's one of the things. So I think divers, with their first-hand experience of actually encountering sharks, as I said, are perfect ambassadors to carry this information out there to Joe public on the street that is not meeting sharks ever, and probably doesn't even really want to. And coral reef stories obviously are going to be told in the north. So I generally do presentations on, on night diving, and also, of course, we're doing cleanup dives in the north. So to sort of collect some of the stuff that are left by people or that are blown into the sea from land. So generally, we're trying to add to the trips information, and that information is also always regarding the conservation side of things.
Do you have, or will you have guest speakers coming on trips to do this as well, or will you take care of all this information yourselves?
Well, one of the first trips actually that we're going to be doing, our second trip actually now in November, is a trip with Paul Duxfield with Duxie. So that's going to be a photo themed week where both me and Ahmed are going to be on the boat as well. So then we're going to be sharing, passing on information to people, and we're planning on doing this in the future as well, potentially with people from the tech diving scene, with other photographers, and other subjects are definitely also, we are open for it, and potentially also, encouraging even people that work with us in the future that have a special field of expertise, that they can add another bonus to the trips, other types of information that we might not really be experts for. So definitely. Or other people that are coming, I've done this before, that people are coming on board and they said, look, I'm, normally doing information for guests that I'm traveling with on this and the subject. So they'd be more than welcome to use the TVs that we have and, the facilities that we have to add to everybody's trip. If they're happy to share any information, then great, awesome.
Excellent, that sounds great. Sounds really good. Tell me, equipment. Do people bring their own? Have you got full sets of kit for people to take?
It varies, actually. I mean, we have normally with divers that reaches the level of advanced and a little bit higher, they tend to get their own equipment, and most of them are more comfortable diving with their own equipment than using rental equipment. If there is a need for rental equipment, the availability is there, but boats has even Scuba Scene with its massive size, it has its limitations for the amount of spare equipment it can carry. So if there is any equipment needed, we can prepare it and provide it on the day before we start. So on the day of the arrival, even if it wasn't actually mentioned before. So people come to the boat and they didn't book equipment, but they want it. We can actually arrange that and get it to the boat. That's no problem at all. Other than this, of course, we are happy to, what we provide is we provide tanks, weights, and weight belts. Also SMBs for those who doesn't have them, because that's sometimes people don't use SMBs where they come from. As for the rest, it's actually based on request, or when people come to the boat, they ask for it and we prepare it. I think that's pretty much it in relation to normal equipment. Technical equipment, we provide all what's needed from the point of tanks, I mean, twin sets, the sets for rebreathers, stages, all the gases, all of that is available. But again, based on request, and that has to be pre-ordered maybe 1 week before the trip itself, because it takes a little bit of organization to get it all on the boat.
Perfect, perfect. As you were talking about gear and everything else, I was just visualizing being on one of your trips, and it sounded lovely. Can you just briefly, for example, your next trip now, just talk us through what that week will entail? So just very generally, I mean, you'll leave Hurghada, and then what's next?
Well, yeah, that's
Okay.
easy.
Well, it's a Shark Week, so maybe I should take this.
Okay.
Okay, generally, okay, the trip starts with the arrival of the guests sort of like in the afternoon on arrival day, which is normally the start, what we call the starting day of the trip. And then we're staying overnight in the marina and we're leaving the next morning. And for the trip that we're doing first, it's like a marine park trip with a shark focus. So Brothers, Daedalus and Elphinstone starting from the new marina in Hurghada. So in the moment, our starting days are Saturday. Guests arrive Saturday, we leave on Sunday morning. The first day we spend local, especially now for a lot of people, it's going to be the first trip after Corona probably. So do a proper check dive. Actually, normally it's 2 check dives, one off the back of the boat, first check. Second dive, very often we do a Zodiac check dive, because obviously marine park involves a lot of Zodiac use, diving from the ribs. And then overnight after the first day, we're heading out to the Brothers, spend 1 day at the Brothers, 3 dives. Hopefully with the first shark encounters, and that also means the first day on Sunday, I already do the first presentation on how to dive with sharks, and especially at this time, it's the Oceanic white-tip shark season, the do's and don'ts of diving with Oceanics, which are obviously, from my point, very interactive sharks, so people need to prepare for these encounters. After the day at the Brothers, again, I do another presentation, we head down to Daedalus overnight, we spend the day there. And then it depends a little bit where we had more about the sightings. We can either decide to spend a second day in Daedalus, or we leave Daedalus, head to Elphinstone, to leave the option open to return to the Brothers on our way back. So basically we have 4 days to play with between Brothers, Daedalus, Elphinstone. And then on the last day, we're heading back to Hurghada, or the last night. And then we have another day with 2 dives of local diving before we're then heading back to the marina in the afternoon of what then would be Friday. And then Friday night, the guests are staying on board. Saturday morning is the checkout from the boat and the departure day. And that is pretty much the roundup of the week that we're planning next, which is starting in the end of October now.
Well, that was very concise. Thank you. It sounds a fabulous week. It's really lovely.
Fingers crossed that the Oceanics are showing up. That's the main thing for this trip, actually, or one of the main things.
I mean, with climate change and everything else and fishing, have the Oceanics been there in numbers over the last few years?
It's a bit difficult to judge last year and of course until now this year. The main season is just about to start actually, sometimes in late September, but very often only now in the middle of October. So for this year, I cannot tell you anything yet. There haven't been many sightings yet, but it's not worrying yet because as I said, the season is just starting. The last few years actually were very, very good in terms of Oceanics. I actually had my record year in terms of numbers in 2019. So that was the highest number that I have recorded in terms of individuals that were sighted and photographed. 2020, of course, with Corona in full swing, I only got the chance to go out there like in 4 weeks. Not all of the data is analyzed yet, but in some of the weeks there was high numbers of Oceanics as well, like 12 on a dive and stuff. I haven't really come down to the individual numbers yet, but in terms of sightings, even last year with my very few weeks, it was quite a good year for the Oceanics. So I'm not saying they're thriving and the numbers are increasing. That's very difficult to tell because obviously we only see the ones that are coming close to the reefs and get photographed and can be documented. And as a pelagic species, I'm quite sure there's a lot more out there where we cannot go. But in terms of like just the sightings that I documented over the last 17 years, I don't really see a decline either, which is good. It's quite encouraging actually. So yeah.
Yeah, that's very encouraging. Oh, I hope yeah, all is well. it's been a pleasure meeting you both and talking to you. Just one last thing that crosses my mind. With COVID, how are you dealing with that on board? How are you preparing for,
all right.
yes. COVID?
Well, we have, generally speaking, we till like the beginning of this year, there was a quarantine room in the boat, like a special cabin dedicated for quarantine. That is since the vaccination started, and now because basically everyone that comes to Egypt is vaccinated, and everyone that is actually working in the tourism business is vaccinated. So we are all vaccinated, and we expect all of our guests to come that are coming to be vaccinated. They stopped requiring this as one of the requirements of the boat, but we still have the temperature. So we check temperature of the guests, and if there is any any suspicion or anyone that is suspected to be infected by COVID, then and that means that their temperature is about 38 degrees, combined with symptoms that indicates that they might have COVID. We have an emergency phone number that we call, and we start taking the boat straight back. We isolate them in their cabins, and then we basically take the boat back to the marina, where we get instructions from the Ministry of Health of what is the exact procedure to do after that. Sometimes they might inspect everyone on the boat. Sometimes, well, they will send an ambulance with doctors that will actually assess the situation from that point and give us the instructions of what to do straight after. But the exact procedure at the sea is to take the boat straight back to the marina once someone has 38 degrees and symptoms combined of COVID-19.
And the other stuff that we obviously have on the boat, I mean, again, people are generally arriving on the boat straight from the airport. So that means they have just shown either vaccination certificates or negative PCR tests, because that's the requirement to enter the country. So once they come on board, again, we have a general like disinfection spray for the luggage and for the shoes. The temperatures will be taken, and as Ahmed said, that continues on a daily basis. And of course, also on the boat, there is the encouragement and all the signs that say, okay, we have hand sanitizer everywhere. We encourage people to wash their hands regularly. Wearing a mask actually on a liveaboard is not very practical. I mean, people are gathering in the restaurant to eat, so I mean, you cannot wear a mask. So the mask wearing even options are very, very limited. Now, of course, also we encourage people to be aware of the commonly touched surfaces, and again, to make sure that they wash their hands and that they use hand sanitizer after they touch them, like railings. Everybody has to touch railings to move around the boat safely. So there's certain things and door handles that are being touched regularly. They're also being disinfected regularly, but again, there is a limit as to what you can do in such a small space. So we do what we can, also in terms of not really physical distancing, but the same thing, encouraging people, let's say, use the same space to eat, to sit down, use your own pen, so that the whole sharing of items is as limited as possible. So we try to stick to all the like normal precautions, but of course, as Ahmed said, we are at a stage now, thankfully, where the people that are working on board are vaccinated, the people that are coming are either vaccinated or just presented a negative PCR test. So the risk of infections should be as low as we can actually get it. Yeah, this is it's still there, but this is as far as the management and the prevention, the attempts of prevention of the spread are going on the boat.
Yeah, I don't think you can do any more. You know, I think you've got it covered.
Always remain, but you know, it's we're gonna have to live with that now to a certain degree and at some point. So yeah, that's my personal opinion anyway.
Yeah, no, it's with us for a long time. But there you are. Well, once again, I say it's been a pleasure to meet you both. I hope you have a great season. Hope it all goes well. And for now, I'll say goodbye.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It was a pleasure.
Take care now.
Before we go, Jeff.
Yes.
Before you go.
Yes.
If you actually want to come to the Red Sea and join us, you are more than welcome. We would love to have you on the boat one time.
Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
Yes.
That sounds fantastic. Lovely. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.